Vice President Kashim Shettima has extolled the virtues of late Dr. Paul Unongo, an elder statesman and former Minister of Steel Development in the Second Republic. Shettima said that the late former chairman of the Northern Elders Forum, NEF, demonstrated that leadership could transcend time and generations. The vice president stated this during a funeral and executive council session in honor of late Dr. Unongo held at the Benue State Government House, Makurdi. Shettima said 87 years were enough for Unongo, whom he described as an exceptional man. Shettima reflected on Dr. Unongo's stewardship as chairman of NEF, pointing out that the deceased carried on his shoulder a weight only a few could bear. He said Dr. Unongo was not just a scholar or a politician, but was a statesman in the truest sense, who put the needs of his people and his nation above every other thing. Shettima described the deceased as a model of dignity, humility, and purpose, adding that late Unongo exemplified leadership rooted in service, and his legacy is one of unflinching integrity.
Many people only to propagate the ideals of their younger years, but he was an exception. He remained a model of dignity, humility, and purpose. The father figure to generations of scholars, public servants, politicians, and community leaders. Paul demonstrated that leadership can transcend time, that service to one's people can enjoy after retirement from the public stage. A scholar's age into private retirement, Unongo chose a more arduous path. He became a unifier, a voice for the collective, and a champion of political family. As chairman of the Northern Elders Forum, succeeding with the brand that was an fellow Alhaji. He showed us a way to prepare. In a region often defined by its complexity and diversity, he offered wisdom, heart, and a vision of unity that transcended ethnic and religious divides. It was also more difficult for Switzerland to pass a region, yet he did so with grace and integrity.
Earlier, Governor Hyacinth Alia of Benue, who symbolically received the remains of the late Unongo, also extolled the virtues of the deceased. He noted that he served his community, the state, and the country at large, and worked for the unity of Nigeria and its progress.
On behalf of all the good people of Benue State, I welcome you to the State House to celebrate the life of Wantaregh Paul Unongo. This with a very deep sense of humility that I receive his remains to hand over to the elders of the state who would eventually have him buried at his ancestral home.
Also, Governor Inuaya of Gombe and chairman of Northern Governors Forum said the late Unongo was a great leader who worked and believed in the unity of the northern region.
And on behalf of my colleagues, the governors of the northern states of Nigeria, who for so many reasons love to be here, but they could not go, I would like to extend our deep condolences to the family, the people, the government of Benue State, and indeed the people of northern Nigeria and Nigeria at large.
In his eulogies, former Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Chief Audu Ogbe, spoke about the late Unongo's leadership qualities and legacies.
Unongo was a very exciting person to know. He had a very broad mind and a very broad vision of Nigeria, and he had friends across the length and breadth of Nigeria.
On his part, former Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki said Dr. Unongo was a worthy example for young and aspiring politicians.
The impression had been given that the country was so divided. Once you were not to a Christian or a Muslim, you could not come together, whether you were north or south. And he went across quietly to reassure people that Nigeria was a united place. That Nigeria that would come together, we all believed in one Nigeria. And he played such a key role that provided the stability in the election that came in 2015 that many people did not know.
The high point of the event was the symbolic handover of the remains of Dr. Unongo by his family to the Benue State Governor for burial.